got a slip in your palm and a hole in your chest. Black coffee on the felt, man, you look like a mess. 3-team parlay turned to dust in your hand. Now you stare at the chips like they made you this man. But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now. Hold on, hold on. Not tonight, not now. Hold on. Let me pull you out. That bell bites hard, but it don't get the crown.
What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you. Toadstool Sports, Monday, June 8th. I feel like crap. I'm definitely sick. I'm going to try to do this show fast. I have no plays today. It's a Monday. It's a smaller board. We went 2-0 yesterday. There you go. 112, 54, and 6 last 65 days. I can't even talk. Philadelphia won. I think if you played them first 5, they also won. Nola was not very good, but their offense exploded, so that was good, I guess. And then the A's won either first 5 or full game. They both won. So whatever. Gage Jump pitched pretty well again. I don't think I have anything else on that. Whatever. All right. Dirty Sock, what's up? Hold on. I don't know what's going on here. All right. Yeah, let's get into this. Baseball, there's a smaller board today. Seattle, Baltimore, first game. Baltimore is returning home from the road. They went to Boston and Toronto. You know, I talk about teams returning home from road trips. They tend to be in a distracted spot. They have to get back to home life. It could be a problem. Maybe they'll get up for it because it is against a decent Seattle team here. Seattle might show up as well because they've been losing. They just lost a series to Detroit, which is somewhat embarrassing. So they're possibly in a bounce-back spot coming off of that. Flying in from Detroit. Seattle used a ton of relief pitchers yesterday. They used whatever that is, 5. Baltimore used 4. Seattle is the better bullpen. Both bullpens not really in good shape right now rest-wise. Seattle number 15 arranged by Whip. Baltimore 19. Seattle has a significantly better bullpen ERA, though. So I think they're definitely the better bullpen, even though they're a little bit less rested. Baltimore 8th in offense. Seattle is 11th. Not a huge disparity there. Might be a little bit of a disparity in this pitching matchup. Emerson Hancock for Seattle, I believe, is the better pitcher. The numbers will tell you that anyway. But he's up against Bassitt, and Bassitt is better at home. Hancock, though, 2.8 ERA, 0.95 whip. Home road splits don't even really matter, insignificant. He's pitched really well. Like his last 4 outings, he's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in all of them. Had 1 bad start since the beginning of May, which was against the White Sox, and he still went fairly deep into that one. He's got a low hit rate, low walk rate, decent strikeout rate as well. He's a good pitcher. Starting to come into his own, I guess, his career, maybe taking off a little bit late, whatever. Against Baltimore, he's got pretty good numbers here, but it's a small sample size, 12 at-bats. 6 hitters have faced him, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks, 167 batting average, 702 OPS. OPS is a little bit higher than you'd think there, but it's a small sample. Chris Bassitt, like I said, pitching for Baltimore, he doesn't have good numbers. 5.27 ERA, 1.63 whip is really bad. 3.09 home ERA, though. So like I said, he is significantly better at home. He has some sort of back injury right now, but he is pitching on schedule, it looks like. Except I did look at the board, and Baltimore is actually undecided right now. So I don't know for sure if Bassitt is actually going to pitch. He's day-to-day with some sort of back issue, so I don't know. So they might wind up calling somebody up or go with a bullpen game. So we really don't know what they're going to do here. Although if it is Bassitt, didn't pitch well his last time against the Red Sox. He's been more bad than good. His hit rate is way too high. His walk rate's a little bit high. Low strikeout rate as well. Numbers against Seattle, if he does indeed pitch, are okay. In 79 at-bats, 241 average allowed, 729 OPS, 25-4 strikeout walk ratio. But it might not be Bassitt pitching here. Probably the lean is going to be Seattle here. I mean, Baltimore is returning home from the road. Whatever Baltimore's going to do here, Seattle probably still has a pitching advantage here. They're a reasonable-ish price here at minus 130 something. They're favored on the road for a reason, though. That would be my opinion in this game. The total is pretty high at 9, which seems kind of high for a Hancock game. I don't know, but it's difficult to gauge that, especially if Baltimore's going bullpen game here. They're probably going to give up some runs. So, Gerald, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. I don't have any plays today, so we're not going to keep rolling. And I'm sick, so I got to get done with this. I'm going to tell you what my strongest opinions are. One of them is this game, Boston, Tampa Bay. I was considering putting this one on the card. Tampa Bay is returning home, although they're only returning home from Miami, so that doesn't really matter that much. Tampa Bay has been playing some pretty bad baseball recently, though. They've lost 5 of their last 6 games, yet they're somehow still tied in first place with the Yankees, and the Red Sox are 10.5 games behind them. So the public is going to look at this, and the public is going to play Tampa Bay here. They have the better record. I think they're going to get the public action here. People don't really know who these starters are at this point. One concern might be the Red Sox are coming off a big series against the Yankees. They had a rain out in there. They split the series. Of course, the Red Sox did not beat Schlittler yesterday. They won the other game. So it could be, I guess, a little bit of a hangover, but I doubt that the Red Sox are going to overlook Tampa Bay. They are having to travel, though. So Tampa Bay is only traveling within Florida, Boston coming down from New York. Maybe it'll be good for them to get out of New York after that loss, though. Red Sox used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Tampa used 3. The Red Sox have the better bullpen. They gave up some runs yesterday. Like I said, their sub-3 ERA only lasted 1 day, but they're still ranked 3rd in bullpen, one of the best bullpen ERAs. Tampa Bay, 18th. Their ERA is like a run and a half higher, basically, than the Red Sox. Tampa Bay has had the better offense, but they've kind of fallen off a little bit. 14th. Red Sox 25th. But I think the Red Sox have the pitching edge throughout this entire game. Connolly early is pitching for the Red Sox. He's been pretty good. 3.26 ERA, 1.18 whip. He's been better on the road, too. 2.67 road ERA. Wasn't great in his last start against Baltimore. 4 runs in 5 1/3 innings. Still had 6 strikeouts and 1 walk, though. So it wasn't really that bad. Like, his command was still there. And he's generally been good pretty much the whole season. Strikeout rate is decent. Walk rate is a little bit too high. Hit rate is good. And he's allowed a few too many home runs. But he's generally been pretty good. Going up against Tampa Bay. Early was going to pitch yesterday if there wasn't a rain out. But now he might he gets a bit of an easier task pitching against Tampa. They have 27 at-bats against them. They have no extra base hits, 7 strikeouts, 3 walks. 222 average, excuse me, that's a lot better than 322. 222 average, 522 OPS. So Early has done well against Tampa, although they have seen him now. But he's got good numbers against them. Red Sox, Tampa is going with a bullpen game, it looks like here. Ian Seymour is pitching. He has not been good this year. 5.23 ERA, 1.35 whip. He's been better at home, though, 3.12 home ERA, but I don't think he's going to go deep into this game. The deepest he's gone, like, basically all season is 2 innings. So he looks like he's going to be basically an opener here, and then you're going to get Tampa's bullpen. I looked 5 games ago, Tampa did basically go with the bullpen game. So I think that is what they're doing here. So their bullpen's not that good. Seymour's not that good. Red Sox haven't really done damage against them, though. 10 at-bats, 3 strikeouts, no walks, 200 average, 700 OPS. Norby has a home, or sorry, that's Miami. What am I looking at here? Dude, I apologize. I got to keep switching here. Red Sox are 0 for 9 off him. My mistake with 3 strikeouts. Let me go back and make sure that I got those numbers right here. Like, if I want to make sure that I switched to the right team here, because ESPN doesn't automatically switch. Yeah, I got Early's numbers right. Hopefully I got Hancock and Bassitt right. Let me just make sure that I did. I think I probably did. Yeah, if I said Hancock, 167 average, 702 OPS against Baltimore, small sample, and then Bassitt. I think I got this right, but let me just verify that. I don't know. Did I switch back? I think I did. Bassitt, 241 average, 729 OPS against Seattle, whatever. But yes, even though the Red Sox have not really hit Seymour before, I like the Red Sox in this game. That's the way I would play it. Red Sox money line. They're favored for a reason. Like, the public's going to look at this. Like, why would the Red Sox be favored on the road when they're 10.5 games behind Tampa Bay? Well, the odds makers are telling you there's not that much of a gap between these two teams. And in fact, the Red Sox have enough of an advantage here, including with the starting pitching matchup here, that they're a favorite on the road. So the odds makers are definitely signaling something to you. They're telling you the Red Sox are supposed to win this game. They're around minus 120 or so here as this page keeps refreshing and shifting. Where the hell is that game? There it is. The money looks like it's on Tampa right now. 62% of tickets, 65% of the cash. I don't think I buy that. It would be Red Sox money line for me in that game. Full game, so you get the advantage of the bullpen as well. It's a push. Yeah, well, it's an intentional push. Mr. Pinsey, what's up? All right, Yankees, Cleveland, Fox Sports 1. This is an interesting pitching matchup here. Cleveland is returning home from a road trip, and they just went to New York and beat the Yankees 2 out of 3. So the Yankees probably are going to remember that and be a little bit more motivated here. It's a little bit of a road revenge spot for the Yankees here, if you want to call it that. Cleveland also returning home from a road trip. Like I said, they went to New York and then Texas. So not a great spot for Cleveland. Again, you return home. Home distractions come into play. However, they're probably not going to overlook the Yankees, though. I mean, if they were playing some bad team, I think the distraction would be more substantial. Cleveland only used 1 relief pitcher yesterday. The Yankees used 4, so Cleveland probably has a bullpen advantage here. Yankees have a somewhat better bullpen, number 11, Cleveland 12th. But Cleveland with the rest, that might give them a little bit of a bullpen advantage. Yankees have the way better offense, number 2. Cleveland is number 26, arranged by OPS. Will Warren was going to start yesterday for the Yankees, and they swapped him with Schlittler. Which makes sense. People are going to complain about Aaron Boone. It made sense to have Schlittler, your better pitcher, go against the Red Sox, or Schlittler has better numbers against the Red Sox than Will Warren does by a lot. And that, was it was a rivalry series, so that made more sense. You push Warren back to this Cleveland game, and he's got good numbers against Cleveland, so that made more sense for the Yankees to do that. Warren has been good this season, though. 3.22 ERA, 1.2 whip. He's been better on the road, too. 2.25 road ERA, which is the opposite of last year. Last year, he was worse on the road. His walks have been a little bit of a concern recently, but the Yankees have won most of his starts this season. He's pitched pretty well all season, really. Pretty low hit rate, pretty low walk rate, too, and a high strikeout rate as well. Yeah, he's been good overall and still looks like he's in pretty good form right now. Against Cleveland, like I said, he's been good. Only 13 at-bats, though. Small sample, but 154 average. 421 OPS allowed, 2 strikeouts, 2 walks, no extra base hits. So Warren does match up pretty well here. He's going to be pitching against Gavin Williams, who is one of Cleveland's best starters. 3.2 ERA, 1.08 whip. Williams having a good season here. He's been really good at home, 2.29 home ERA. Struggled a little bit in his last game, which was against the Yankees. So maybe not the greatest matchup for him, although when you look at the matchup numbers here, he actually does okay against them. He gave up 3 runs in 5 1/3 innings in that game. Still picked up a win, and he had 6 strikeouts and 1 walk. So he wasn't exactly bad in that outing. Cleveland has won his last 4 outings. He's got a pretty high strikeout rate on the season. He's got one of the highest just pure strikeout numbers on the season. That's because he's also thrown a lot of innings. But he's got a really low hit rate. Strikeout rate is well over 1 per inning, and his walk rate is decent as well. Williams has been good, man. The walks have been an issue for him in the past, but seems like recently they're a bit less of an issue. Like since the beginning of May, his walk rate has been fairly low. Numbers against the Yankees, including that last start, are pretty good. In 42 at-bats, 14 strikeouts, 6 walks, 238 average. OPS is a little bit high, though, 762. So it's a little bit on the side where the Yankees start having a little bit of an advantage. But I don't know. This looks like it's going to be kind of a pitching matchup to me. Cleveland has a lot of they have a lot of low-scoring games at home, and the Yankees don't score as well on the road. So some sort of under here seems to kind of make sense to me. Probably you could go full game under maybe on this. 82% of tickets, 90% of the cash on the under. I mean, the Yankees do have kind of an unrested bullpen, though. Full game totals 8. First half is probably like 4, 4.5 maybe for the first 5. Yeah, I think first 5 under probably makes the most sense. In this one, I think maybe that's where the best advantage is to do that. First 5 under makes sense. Cleveland has some money coming in here. 62% of tickets, 89% of the cash on Cleveland. Minus 120-something is the price on them. I don't know if I agree with that. Warren actually has the better matchup numbers here. I think Warren might be a little bit more under the radar. You could argue the Yankees could be in a bit of a letdown off of the Red Sox series, though. But like I said, Cleveland's kind of in a bad spot, returning home from the road. Yankees might show up with a little bit more intensity because they have the revenge factor coming in here. I think I would slightly lean Yankees first 5. Probably not in the bullpens because their bullpen is unrested. But I think under first 5 is probably the best approach in that game. Yankees first 5, maybe a consideration there. I like the Red Sox better than these other games that I talked about so far, though. Philadelphia at Toronto. Toronto just won a series against Baltimore. They're staying at home. Toronto, I don't really think they're going to overlook Philly because Philly's been playing pretty well recently, too. Philly's been hot. 5 out of the last 6 games have been wins for them. They won for us on the show yesterday. They're now starting a road trip. Usually when you start a road trip, you are focused. Philadelphia has a huge starting pitching advantage in this game, but the problem is you have to pay for it if you want Philadelphia here. Philadelphia used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. Toronto also did. Toronto's bullpen is probably slightly worse. They're ranked 10th. Philadelphia's 13th, but Philadelphia has a better bullpen ERA. I think Philadelphia's bullpen's a little bit better, but I'm kind of just going with intuition on that. Neither team's offense has been that good. Toronto 20th, Philadelphia 28th, really bad, although Philadelphia scored enough runs for us yesterday. But Christopher Sanchez is pitching for Philly, so they might not need to score that many runs here to win this game. Sanchez has been really good. 1.46 ERA, 1.09 whip. He's been more beatable on the road, if you want to call it that. 2.73 road ERA. Obviously still good. Sanchez gave up 1 run in his last outing. What's wrong with him, man? After he went the entire month of May without allowing a run, he gave up a run to San Diego. What the hell, man? But whatever. Sanchez is pitching really, really well right now, obviously. He's still in really good form. I think he has the second highest strikeout rate in baseball, I want to say, behind Mizurowski. I'll have to check that, but he's got over 100 strikeouts already in much fewer innings than that. Low hit rate, low walk rate. All of his numbers are really good. He's in Cy Young contention here. Cy Young, there are a lot of candidates in the NL here, man. And he is one of them. Against Toronto, he's got pretty good numbers against them. In 49 at-bats, 204 average allowed, 563 OPS. The only bad number here is the walks. 6 strikeouts, 5 walks. But, yeah, I expect Sanchez to pitch well here. I'm not going out on a limb saying that. He's going up against the much maligned Patrick Corbin, who, you know me, I don't think he's a very good pitcher. His ERA is pretty good this year, 3.98. His whip is not very good, 1.38, indicating that his ERA should probably be, I would say, in the mid to high 4s would make more sense with a whip like that. Corbin, not good at home, 4.74 home ERA. He only had one strikeout in his last outing against Atlanta, gave up 4 runs there. He seems to be kind of trending back in the wrong direction if that start is going to be a new trend here. I don't know. I just don't really trust Corbin. He's got a low strikeout rate. His hit rate is pretty bad, more than 1 per inning. His walk rate is okay. Against Philadelphia, let's see. Philadelphia is going to have seen a lot of them because Corbin was on Washington. So Philadelphia has definitely seen a bunch of them. They have 185 at-bats against him, 335 average allowed, 985 OPS, 40 to 28 strikeout walk ratio. These numbers are horrible. Philadelphia has a bunch of batters that just crush this guy. Baum, Harper, Real Muto, Stott, all of those guys destroy him. So, yeah, this looks like a pretty bad matchup for Corbin. I don't think you can really lay the money line here, though, even though obviously I expect Philadelphia to win this game. I think this is a complete mismatch. But Philadelphia's minus 190 almost here, minus 180s. The money is actually backing Toronto, which I would not do. 75% of tickets, 83% of the cash on Toronto. There's just no way I would do that. I think Philly is the right side. I think they're going to win this game. But the money's coming in on the over. 59% of tickets, 91% of the cash on the over. The total is low, 7.5. But I think the way to do this is probably to go Philadelphia over their team total. Although, I don't know. If you do that, then you lose the Christopher Sanchez part of the handicap, though. So I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't disagree, though, that Philadelphia should score runs off of Toronto's pitching situation here. And I think laying the money line, I think, is kind of out of the question here. I mean, the money is basically kind of telling you that the professional bettors are kind of saying that they think Philadelphia is a little bit overvalued here. Like, you're paying too much of a price for Sanchez because everybody knows how good he is now. But, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I think I would still not disagree with laying a run line with Philadelphia here. I know they're on the road. At least you get all 9 innings from them if you do lay the run line with them. I don't know. I think it kind of makes more sense to do it that way. And if you want to avoid Philly's bullpen because they're not really that good, you could go first 5, lay a run line in the first 5, maybe even a half run. That's actually the best way to approach this game. Philadelphia first 5 run line. That makes some sense to me. And then just go with the starting pitching edge. But I don't know, man. The price on that is probably going to be big. So I don't know. You're probably going to have to lay some juice for that, for something like that. So I'm skipping the game. But, yeah, I think Philly's going to win the game. All right, Houston at Anaheim. This might be I think this is the one that I was closest to playing. It was either this one or the Red Sox. I like Houston in this game. Anaheim is returning home from the road, although it's only going up the street from L.A., so that's not really that big of a deal. They were not on the road for very long, but I think they're in a letdown spot because Anaheim broke out the bats yesterday, and they just torched the Dodgers yesterday. I had that game completely wrong. It's a good thing it was not on my card. A few of those unders that I liked yesterday did not happen, so good thing I did not put them on my card. But Anaheim, that was a big win for them. They beat the Dodgers 13-5 yesterday. Finally, they beat them after losing 5 games to them this season. Could be a letdown for Anaheim after that. Although I know this is a divisional game. I know Anaheim's in last place in the division, so they still might show up to play against Houston here. Houston used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Anaheim used 4. And Anaheim, we're at a point where I think Anaheim is actually the lesser bullpen. Houston's bullpen has actually been pitching better recently. They got their ERA below 5 now. They're ranked 24th now, so they're not dead last anymore, and they're not really that close. Anaheim has a worse bullpen ERA by 0.3. Or, no, excuse me, no, they don't. Houston has a worse ERA, my mistake, but it's really close. Anaheim has the worst bullpen whip, though, and they're 28th in bullpen whip. So I think Houston actually might have the better bullpen here, and I think they have the better starter. Spencer Arrighetti is pitching for Houston. He's been, like, basically their only good starter, although I do have some question marks with him here, but he's got good numbers. 1.94 ERA, 1.18 whip. He's Italian and he's got awesome hair, so I like that. He's been good on the road, 1.69 road ERA, although Anaheim is kind of a hitter-friendly ballpark. Arrighetti did struggle in his last game against Pittsburgh. He gave up 4 runs to them in 4 innings. Pittsburgh is a good offense, though. Did have 3 strikeouts, 1 walk in that one. And Arrighetti had allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in every start prior to that this season. His numbers are pretty good. His hit rate is really low. His real issue is walks, though. His walk number is really high. So that does worry me, although his walk number went down in his last 2 games. But that walk number is still way too high. He's got to more consistently pitch without walking a bunch of guys, for me to change my mind about that. And his strikeout rate is lower than you would think. Like, usually when you have a guy who has numbers that look this good and they walk a ton of guys, like Dylan Cease or something like that, usually they overcome that by having a ridiculous strikeout rate. But Arrighetti doesn't have that right now, so I don't know. He's got some issues. His strikeout-walk ratio is not that good. Against Anaheim, though, he's been pretty good. 21 at-bats. It's not a big sample. Nito is like the only guy that does any damage against him. Nito has 2 home runs off him. Arrighetti has 10 strikeouts, 3 walks allowed to them, 143 average, 679 OPS. Then on the other side, Grayson Rodriguez is pitching for Anaheim. He's trying to make a comeback here. He missed all of last season with an injury. He was on Baltimore prior to that. His numbers were decent with Baltimore the last season that he pitched with Baltimore. So I thought he was turning into a pretty good pitcher, but whatever injury happened to him really kind of derailed him, and he has not really gotten back on track. He's got a 9.5 ERA here this season so far in 4 starts, I think. 1.89 whip. He's been really bad at home. 12.46 home ERA. That's not good. He got lit up at home his last outing against Colorado. That's not a good sign. That Colorado offense is not good. Really, they're not good anywhere this year. But by that much, I mean, they're not really that good anywhere this year, I should say. But usually they're really bad on the road. Rodriguez only had 1 good start, and it was on the road against Detroit. And we know Detroit hasn't been hitting well. So I don't know. G-Rod doesn't seem like he's pitching too well here. He's got a really high walk rate, a high hit rate as well. His strikeout rate is okay. So I do think he is going to get a little bit better. Like, if you look at his numbers, 2023, 2024, I think he won't be this bad all season. But I don't trust him right now. I don't trust him at home. His numbers against Houston, let me see. Not great. They're not horrible, though. Like, he's on, like, the slightly better side of these numbers. 26 at-bats, 269 average, allowed 745 OPS, 3 strikeouts, 2 walks. So Houston doesn't destroy him, but he is not pitching well right now. So, yeah, like I said, I like Houston here. Houston is traveling, though. They are coming in from home. So they are having to travel out to the West Coast. So I don't necessarily love that, even though first game of a road trip, usually a team is going to be focused. But Central Time Zone team going to play a late night game out west could be a little bit bad biologically for the biological clock. So I will stay off this game, but I like Houston. So I think if I was going to play any games today, it would be this one or the Red Sox. Maybe I like the Red Sox a little bit better than this one. So I would lean Red Sox money line and Houston money line. Those would be my 2 opinions here. The money is not agreeing with this either, though. Money's coming in on Anaheim. 74% of tickets, 87% of the cash. I don't know how you could back Grayson Rodriguez the way he's pitching right now with your actual money, though. I mean, like I said, I think eventually he will be back in some sort of form, though, but it hasn't happened yet. It looked like he was moving in the right direction, and then he had a massive setback in his last game. Houston is a favorite, like I said, or I think I said that. They're around minus 130, so you do have to lay a little bit of a price for them. Maybe the money's coming in on Anaheim because maybe that price is just not totally justified. I do think that Arrighetti's not quite as good as his numbers look, so I will say that. And money is coming in on the over in that game. Obviously, if you go with an over in that game, obviously I would go full game on that. And then you get the full advantage of that because the bullpens are really the main reason why you'd want to take an over in that game. The bullpens are just awful. Garrett, what's up? North Carolina, yes, they won. They're going to the College World. I almost said Little League. The College World Series. I don't know how they do it. How many teams make Omaha? Is it just the Final Four? I don't even know. I don't pay that much attention to it. I think Texas is still alive. They're a pretty good team. I don't know who else is still there, though. All right, Cincinnati and San Diego on ESPN Unlimited. San Diego is staying at home, and they've lost a lot of games recently. San Diego's playing some bad baseball. So it might serve them better to just leave home. I don't know. This is bad for them. Cincinnati is having to travel to the West Coast, though, from the central time zone. Cincinnati was just in St. Louis. They got swept in St. Louis. This Cincinnati team is not great, man. Maybe it's a bounce-back spot for them. Maybe it'll be good for them to just leave where they just were and, press a reset button. But having to go out to the West Coast, like I said, for that first game, it's a little bit difficult to do that when you're having to shift your biological clock. So I don't really want anything to do with Cincinnati here. Cincinnati, really bad bullpen. They used 5 guys out of the bullpen yesterday, too. San Diego has a massive bullpen advantage here. They used 3 guys out of the bullpen. Mason Miller rested yesterday for what that's worth. San Diego has one of the best bullpens in baseball, though they're number 4. Cincinnati is dead last. 30th, so there's a huge bullpen advantage to San Diego here. San Diego's hitting is dead last, though, so Cincinnati has a hitting edge. Cincinnati is 16th, so they're middle of the pack here. Andrew Abbott is pitching for Cincinnati. He hasn't been that good, although if you look at his career numbers, they're better than this, and he does seem to be getting better over the last month or so, so I think he is kind of trending back towards what we usually get out of him after he started the season pretty bad. 4.06 ERA, 1.44 whip. That whip is pretty bad. He's got a 2.81 road ERA, though, so he's been good on the road, which kind of makes sense because Cincinnati's home ballpark is pretty hitter conducive, although Abbott has pitched with Cincinnati for years now, and he's been pretty good prior to this year, so I think his home number probably will get better, but it'll probably be good for him to just go out on the road, go to a pitcher-friendly park, and face a really weak San Diego offense. Abbott, like I said, he pitched better throughout the month of May. His ERA was a lot better, but his strikeout rate was low, and his walk rate was definitely too high, so he still has some issues here. His hit rate has gotten lower over the last month. His hit rate is below 1 per inning again now. His walk rate is still way too high, though, and his strikeout rate is, I think, abnormally low. He's not really a strikeout pitcher, but his strikeout rate is really low, so his strikeout-walk ratio is really bad, so that does concern me about Abbott. But I think I would be more inclined to think he is going to pitch well here, though, because looking at his career, he's been a pretty decent pitcher. Again, he's on the road against a bad San Diego lineup, and he's got good numbers against them. 53 at-bats, 208 average, allowed 584 OPS, 14.4 strikeout walk ratio. So I think Abbott should pitch well here. Walker Buehler is pitching for San Diego. He hasn't been great, but he's been, I guess, better than maybe people thought. 4.53 ERA, 1.28 whip. Still not great, though. Buehler, I don't think he's ever going to be what he once was before having, I think, multiple Tommy John surgeries maybe. But he has been good at home, so pitching with San Diego has helped him because he gets to pitch in this pitcher-friendly ballpark. 3.5 ERA at home, so that has definitely helped his numbers. He did actually pitch well on the road last time out against Philadelphia, and that was his second straight start against Philly, and he pitched well. And he actually pitched pretty well in May as well. So Buehler is actually in better form right now. Most of his May starts were at home, so do with that what you want. But Buehler is in better form right now. His strikeout rate is low. His walk rate is still too high. His hit rate is fine, though. But like I said, his walk rate has gone down recently. So he is in better form right now than he was earlier in the season. He will be going up against a Cincinnati lineup that's middle of the pack. He's got good numbers against them in 32 at-bats, 219 average. Well, actually, not all good numbers. My eyeball just goes to the average first, but 774 OPS isn't really that good. A couple of home runs there from Benson and Steer. 8.4 strikeout walk ratio, but still, that seems a little fluky to me. I think generally he's been decent against Cincinnati. He's been better at home. I think a first 5 under makes some sense in this game. The money's coming in on the over, though. 81% of tickets, 91% of the cash on the over. The total's really low, though, 7.5, 8. So the odds makers are kind of telling you they think this will be a lower scoring game. I would not want Cincinnati's bullpen to factor into that in any fashion, though. So I think under first 5 innings makes some sense in that game. And then the money is backing San Diego for what that's worth. 62% of tickets on Cincinnati, 67% of the cash on San Diego. Do with that info what you want. I don't really think I have a good read on the side, though. San Diego definitely does have a bullpen advantage, though, so that is one big advantage that they have in the game. Kyle, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. You missed the bets. Yeah, we had afternoon baseball. It's a Sunday yesterday. All Sunday baseball is afternoon because except for the Sunday night game because the teams have to travel. Yes. All right. Speaking of the Sunday night game, one of the teams involved in that game is playing tonight. Washington at San Francisco. So San Francisco maybe at a little bit of a disadvantage for that reason. And their disadvantage gets worse than that because they played into extra innings in Chicago. So it was San Francisco at the Cubs. They also beat the Cubs in that game. So San Francisco, they just won a series against the Cubs. They're returning home from a long road trip that took them to Colorado, Milwaukee, and then Chicago. Now they're having to readjust to the Pacific time zone off of a night game, off of a big win against the Cubs here. This is a very, very negative spot for San Francisco, man. Again, returning home could be a distraction spot. You got to get back to home life, whatever. They're in the longest road trip return spot out of any team today. Shorter rest because they're coming up the night game, readjusting your biological clock 2 time zones later. Not going to be easy. So these are huge negatives for San Francisco. So I was thinking this looks like a good spot to play Washington, man. I was thinking I might be doing that until I looked at the pitching matchup, and I'm like, I just can't do it, man. I can't do it, even though this looks like a really nice spot to fade San Francisco. Washington is in a much better position because they're only traveling in from Arizona, so that's a much easier travel spot, and Washington played in the afternoon, so that's a much easier situation for Washington. They have an easier travel spot and extra rest here. So Washington has a huge situational advantage here. But again, the problem is the advantages they have kind of stopped there because their pitching just isn't good, although they didn't use that much of their relief staff yesterday. They used 2 guys out of the bullpen, but their bullpen stinks. San Francisco used 5 relief pitchers, though. And actually, even though San Francisco has good bullpen personnel, their bullpen has fallen off. They're number 25, and Washington's number 23. But Washington's bullpen ERA is like a half run worse than San Francisco, so I still think San Francisco is the better bullpen, but because of the lack of rest, that does kind of negate San Francisco's bullpen edge a little bit, so that's kind of another indicator that maybe you could be looking at Washington as an underdog here. Washington is number 4 in offense. They are the better offense. They've been around there all season. San Francisco's number 11, but I think with San Francisco back at home, their offense is going to fall back to earth. San Francisco had a couple of huge offensive performances on the road. They're not a good offense, in my opinion, and they're back at home, which is a pitcher-friendly ballpark. I don't see San Francisco keeping that up. However, they get to face Miles Mikolas, and this is kind of the problem. I don't think I could back him, dude, even though this is a really nice spot. And if you were going to back Mikolas in, any spot, this might be the spot to do it. His numbers are just so awful, though. 6.39 ERA, 1.4 whip. That's not good, although he is better on the road, so you might be able to back him for that reason. 4.82 road ERA. He gets lit up at home. He is better on the road, but he's just not pitching well. He got lit up a bit by Miami last time out. Hasn't been good recently. Hasn't been good all season, really. He's got a low strikeout rate, a high hit rate. His walk rate is okay, and he's given up a lot of home runs, but this is a pitcher-friendly ballpark, so maybe that'll help him out. He did actually face San Francisco at home earlier this year where he is worse. He went 4 shutout innings in that one, so he did pitch well against San Francisco back in mid-April at home, again, where he is worse. Against San Francisco overall, though, his numbers are just not that good. In 73 at-bats, they have a 301 average off him. 735 OPS is a bit low, though, so they haven't really hit him for power, but they have a lot of contact hitting off him. 14 strikeouts and 4 walks, so I just can't do it, man. You know, I love seeing a situation like this because the situation is so negative for San Francisco. But then you look at the pitching matchup, you have to deal with Mikolas against Webb. Like, Webb is so clearly the better pitcher here. I can't do it, man. I can't do it. Logan Webb for the Giants. I mean, he's a staple. He pitched really well in his last outing, and I gave you guys a winner on that one on the show. Luckily, San Francisco scored 1 run, and we're able to win the bet that way because Webb was excellent. Webb actually took a perfect game into the 6th inning in that one against Milwaukee. He's really good against Milwaukee specifically for whatever reason. Webb, overall, his numbers are trending in the right direction. He's got a 4.25 ERA, 1.26 WHIP, but we basically know who he is. He started this season a little bit late due to an injury, but if you look at his career numbers, I mean, he's one of the Giants' most consistent pitchers. He's usually better at home as well, although this year that hasn't been the case. 6.26 home ERA. So if you do want to fade the Giants here, the home road splits actually favor Miles Mikolas here, but Webb throughout his career, he's been better at home though, so I don't put that much weight into this small sample size split that we have here. Webb, like I said, he was awesome last time out after he wasn't really pitching that well. He seems like he's coming back into form. That outing was really good. Last time out against Milwaukee, 7 shutout innings, 1 hit allowed. But when a guy does that, when a guy takes a perfect inning pretty deep, a perfect game pretty deep into an outing like that, into like the 6th inning, sometimes he'll be in a letdown spot after that, you know what I mean? Maybe he won't because he's a pretty consistent pitcher, and it wasn't like he made it to the 9th inning or anything. So we'll see. But also his numbers against Washington are actually not that good. In 54 at-bats, 278 average, 805 OPS, 10-7 strikeout walk ratio. So I lean Washington in this game, man. I don't know if I could do it, though. I got no balls, maybe. I don't know. But I think I just can't do it, man, with Mikolas. I cannot do it. The money is heavily indicating on San Francisco, and I would not agree with that. 74% of tickets on Washington, 87% of the cash on San Francisco. I do not understand that. I expected the money to be on Washington in this game. San Francisco's around minus 160 or so here. They're favored for a reason. Webb is a lot better than Mikolas. We know that. So San Francisco probably deserves to be favored by about that, but you can get Washington at a nice underdog price, man. You got Webb, doesn't have great matchup numbers. Webb has not been good at home this year. Mikolas has been better on the road. Washington's offense has also been better on the road. The situational setup is just way better for Washington here, though. And then the bullpens actually look like they're kind of a wash here, Washington, believe it or not. Even though San Francisco normally, I would say, has a considerably better bullpen. That just hasn't been the case recently. And the rest or lack of rest for San Francisco hurts their bullpen too. So I would look at Washington in this one. I would split the bet, probably take part of it on the run line and part of it on the money line. I think that's the way I would do it. And then if they come within 1 run, you'll push the bet. The total's fairly low at 8, so there's a decent shot. You know, when it's a lower total, there's a better shot for the underdog to kind of hang around there typically. Garrett, Braves with a sweep. Is that what happened? Yeah, I think it was. Braves are off today, I believe. Yeah, they swept Pittsburgh. All right, I think. All right, the last game here is Milwaukee and the A's. Now, if you look at the schedule, it looks like the A's are returning home from a road trip because they went to the Cubs and Houston, but that is not the case because this game is in Las Vegas. So this is not the A's stadium. So keep that in mind. We are not playing in the AAA stadium in Sacramento that the A's typically play in. The A's are going to move to Las Vegas, so I guess they're getting their feet wet and they're going to, see how much of a crowd shows up for this. They're playing in Las Vegas at Las Vegas Ballpark, which this might also be a AAA stadium though, so I don't know. I would have to look into it more. I haven't really I decided I didn't want to play this game, and I just overlooked it. But the total is really high in this game, so the total makes it look like it's being played in Sacramento. So I think this ballpark must be like probably where like the Vegas what's that Vegas AAA team the Area 51s. I think they're the Dodgers AAA team or whatever. I think it's probably that team, whatever it is. I'm not totally sure about that, but it looks like it's probably another AAA stadium that is very hitter conducive, because I didn't even realize this game wasn't in Sacramento, because I was like, oh yeah, the total's 11. All right, it goes to 11. But yeah, I think it must be that this stadium is just very similar to the stadium that the A's play in. So keep all that in mind, but this game is in Las Vegas, so it is not a return home spot. So the A's are not going to be back in the Bay Area for this. Milwaukee is traveling. They're coming in from Colorado. They just swept Colorado, so they're coming out of elevation down to Vegas to play this game. All right. Still probably won't really be a home advantage for the A's here, though. As far as the bullpens are concerned, Milwaukee definitely has the better bullpen. The A's used 3 guys out of the bullpen yesterday. Milwaukee only used 2. Milwaukee, like I said, they have the better bullpen here. Milwaukee is number 14, but they do have a really good bullpen ERA. A's are number 21. Their ERA is more than a run higher. So you got an advantage in the bullpen with Milwaukee. Milwaukee's hitting has moved all the way up to 10th. But again, playing in Colorado will do that, right? Like playing in Colorado, the Giants shot way up in offense. Now Milwaukee did, whatever. Milwaukee's got a decent offense, though. They've been playing better recently, just in general. And then the A's, they have a decent offense, too. They're 13th. So both these offenses can do damage offensively. But both these starting pitchers have been all right. Harrison has been better than all right. Kyle Harrison for the Brewers. Red Sox should not have gotten rid of him, man. Imagine having Harrison in that Red Sox rotation instead of Brian Bayo. Red Sox would have all these young guns who are all pitching well. That would be insane. Harrison's been awesome. 1.57 ERA, 1.03 whip. Home road splits are basically insignificant here. Had 12 strikeouts in his last outing, double-digit strikeouts in 2 of his last 3 outings. Milwaukee's won all of his starts going all the way back to April 21st. So, yeah, I mean, he's been pitching well. The team has been playing well behind him. He's got a low hit rate, a low walk rate, well, low enough, and a high strikeout rate as well. His numbers are good across the board. We get it. He'll be facing the A's here, and the A's have actually seen him before, and they actually have done well against him because he was on the Giants, remember? So the Giants and the A's are like that geographic rivalry. Harrison only has 8 at-bats against them, though, but they've done some offensive damage against them. 2 strikeouts, no walks, 375 average, 875 OPS. I'm still not about to say that Harrison's going to pitch poorly here, because why would you? When he's pitched awesome all season. He's allowed no more than 2 earned runs in any start this season. I know the A's have hit him a little bit in a small sample, but he's better this year than he ever has been. He's still young at 24. So I think the A's have not seen this version of Kyle Harrison. By the way, unfortunately, we lost that under in his last game. He was not the reason why. But also, yes, this is a hitter-friendly ballpark, so Harrison does have to pitch there. Harrison does have kind of an extreme fly ball rate, so that is something to keep in mind. So this might not be the best stadium for him to pitch in, but he's so good that I don't think that really matters that much. So my assumption is that Harrison should pitch well here. I wouldn't want to fade him. Jeffrey Springs is pitching for the A's. He's been decent, 4.37 ERA, 1.24 whip. He's not really as good at home, which makes sense because the A's ballpark is very hitter conducive. And again, they're playing in Vegas this time, so it's not the same ballpark, but it appears to be similar just based on the total the odds makers have put out there. Springs has a 4.46 home ERA. I think he might struggle in this ballpark because it's similar to that A's ballpark. Springs was not good last time out against the Cubs. He's struggling a little bit over his last few outings. He hasn't really been that good. So he's not in good form right now. He's got a low hit rate. His walk rate is a little bit high and his strikeout rate's a little bit low. And he's a pretty extreme fly ball pitcher as well, so that's not good for a ballpark like this. Against Milwaukee, where are we? They have decent offensive numbers against him. It's kind of a small sample, 22 at-bats, although basically all their hitters have faced him before. 6 strikeouts, 4 walks, 273 average allowed, 839 OPS, so he has not done that well against them. It seems to set up better for Milwaukee here, but you're having to pay a price for Milwaukee here. Oh, look at this, the numbers. Dude, Wager Talk, your odds logic screen, whatever. Yeah, like all the numbers are coming in. I hope that continues to be the case. We get all these numbers earlier. The money's coming in on the A's here, though. 88% of tickets, 94% of the cash on them. If you want Milwaukee, you're laying about minus 140 something on the money line. I think I would have to lean that way, though. I think Harrison has a better... Harris is just better than Springs. Milwaukee's bullpen is also better, so I think I could only lean to Milwaukee there. Even though it's not actually a return home spot for the A's. But they also don't really have a home advantage here. The total, the money's coming in on the over pretty strongly here. Over 11. 11 is such a high total, though, for this pitching matchup. Like, these are pitchers that get decent respect, especially Harrison, from the marketplace. So that total is crazy high. That does make it seem like this is a very hitter-friendly ballpark they're playing in here. So keep that in mind, but I don't think I would want to play that thing over. You're never really going to see, like, am I ever going to play an over in a Harrison game, especially when the total is 11? I don't think so, although the one thing that I did say is that both pitchers do have a tendency to give up fly balls, so maybe that will hurt them in this game, but there's no reason to think that Harrison is going to all of a sudden like implode based on how well he's pitched all season. So it might happen, but I would not have my money on it. And it might happen in some start where you don't really expect it. So, all right. Let's go to the WNBA. I'm going to close all that stuff. WNBA, we have 3 games here. Actually, I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back, and then I'll do the WNBA and the NBA, unfortunately. But I don't have a play in any of these things. I'll be right back. All right. And yes, I don't know if I made that totally clear, but the A's, if people don't know, the A's are moving to Las Vegas. I think in 2028, I think. I don't know. I don't love that the A's are this homeless team in Sacramento for this long, and they're not called the Sacramento A's. I don't know. It's very weird. All right. WNBA Cup action continues. 2 of these 3 games are huge mismatches. Including this first one in New York and Connecticut. New York is one of the better teams in the league. Connecticut is, I think, the worst team in the whole league. Connecticut is also returning home from a road trip, so I don't exactly love that. Obviously, I don't like it. They went to Atlanta and Chicago. Maybe not the worst road trip, but they were still away for almost a week. Now they're returning back, but they haven't won a cup game yet, and they're playing against New York, so I don't think they're really going to be distracted. I think they'll still show up for it. New York also killed them in the season opener at New York, so New York might take Connecticut a little bit lightly after they stomped them by 31 points. And if you look at this game, it was a little bit misleading. Connecticut had a horrific shooting game, 39% from the field, and they actually had 16 more field goal attempts than New York did in the game. Connecticut was only 18% from three. Liberty had 6 more threes, 32% from three, but 52% from the field. The Liberty also went to the line constantly. They had more than twice as many free throw attempts, and they hit 19 more free throws. So this is an outlier. You got to expect that the free throw disparity is not going to be that extreme this time. Connecticut, even though they're awful, they're probably not going to shoot this poorly. The Liberty will probably not shoot this well. So there are definitely some outliers here. The Liberty were the better team, but not by anywhere near as much as it looked. And they only won the rebound battle by 5. And the Liberty, by the way, were a 9.5-point favorite in that game. I don't know if maybe there were some injured players or something there, because the Liberty are favored by more than that on the road here. They're 12.5, 13. The money looks like it's on the Liberty, 78% of tickets, 89% of the cash on them. I wouldn't do that, though. I would lean towards taking the points with Connecticut. I know it's not far from New York, so they'll probably still have some fans show up, I guess. However many fans show up in the WNBA. But the Liberty are also coming off a nice win over Indiana. And they have Atlanta next, so that might be a look ahead because Atlanta's been one of the better teams in the league too. So this is kind of a sandwich spot the Liberty are in, and it's a bit of a revenge spot for Connecticut from a very misleading final. So even though Connecticut is returning home from the road, Liberty are also undefeated in cup play so far, but maybe the Liberty are trying to win the cup, and maybe they will still remain focused for that reason. But how can you be that focused on a team that you absolutely destroyed the one time that you played them? Yeah, I don't know. The line seems high to me too, so I would lean towards taking the points with Connecticut in that one. I don't want to do it. They're returning home from a road trip and whatever, but that might still be the strongest play out of these three, though, is to look towards taking the points with Connecticut. Indiana at Washington is on Peacock. Washington, I think, is 1-1 in cup play so far. I think both of these teams are. I think the cup started in June, for whatever that's even worth. Washington, by the way, they did go into Indiana and upset Indiana in overtime earlier, so Indiana might have something to say about that in this game. So Indiana might have a little bit of revenge on their mind here. If you dig into that box score, Washington shot 56% from the field, so that's a bit of an outlier there. Indiana only 39%. Indiana had, 24 more field goal attempts in the game. So Indiana was the better team in the game in various ways. So Washington should probably take a step back shooting wise here. I'd expect them to regress a little bit. They also took 9 more free throws in the game. So that might regress a little bit too. Indiana didn't shoot well from the free throw line in the game. They also didn't shoot well from the field, so that might have some positive regression for Indiana. The problem that I have with this game here, though, is that there are some regression points on Indiana, too. Mostly the fact that they hit 11 more three-pointers in the game, and they still lost the game. That is not a good sign. If you outscore a team by 33 points from long distance, there's no possible way that you should lose that game, so that's not good. And Indiana got massively out-rebounded. They got out-rebounded by 15. And the fact that Indiana had a plus 10 turnover margin and still lost the game, that's the reason why they had so many field goal attempts. That's kind of an issue as well. So I see some regression points both ways here. So I don't really love that. Indiana, I think they're 1-1 in conference in cup play as well. Like I said, they did just lose to the Liberty. That was a tough game, dude. Indiana was winning that game in the second half, and then they fell apart. So I don't love that. Like, it could be a hangover spot for Indiana here, coming off a game like that where you put in a big effort and you have the lead and you think you're going to win against one of the better teams in the league, and then you fall apart and lose late. I don't love that Indiana sets up that way here. Washington did just get obliterated by Atlanta, so they might show up with a bit more intensity here. Still looks like a bit of a revenge spot for Indiana, though. They're laying 5.5 on the road. They're laying that for a reason, but the money's all coming in on Washington. 75% of tickets on Indiana, 58% of the cash on Washington. Indiana's around -5 here. I struggle with this game. I see factors that support playing either team here, so I don't want to do anything with that game. I don't know. I was initially leaning towards Indiana in that game. It's really tough. Looking into it, there are arguments for both sides, and the money is saying Washington. So do with that information what you want, but I want nothing to do with it. And then Seattle at Las Vegas. This is disgusting. This is just such a mismatch. This is on USA Network. Seattle is one of the probably bottom 2 teams in the league, them and Connecticut. Vegas is one of the best teams. Vegas is on a 3-game win streak. They did just beat Golden State in a return home spot, and it was a potential revenge game for Golden State, and Vegas still won and covered, which I thought that Golden State was going to cover that. I thought they might have a chance to win that game, and Vegas did only win by 5. But now that Vegas is coming up that win against a pretty good team, they're at home. They got Portland next. I don't think they're really going to look ahead to Portland. But I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know how much focus they're really going to pay Seattle here. Seattle's been awful. Seattle just lost by 20 points to Minnesota. They haven't won a cup game yet. Vegas, by the way, has not been good at home so far. They tend to struggle at home early in the season for whatever reason. They're 1-2 at home, and they got obliterated by Phoenix. We played that game. We also played the LA game against them, and they lost that game too. The game after that, I thought they would bounce back, which they didn't. But then their most recent home game against Golden State was their first home win, and that was another reason why I thought they might not cover that, which is because they hadn't been good at home. But now they're back at home for 2 games in a row, so maybe they will do a little bit better here. But I don't know. I think I would lean to Seattle here. You're just getting a ton of points. Vegas is 16, minus 16 here. Seattle, 78% of tickets, 92% of the cash on them. It looks like the money is taking Seattle to some extent here. And it's a low total. It's the lowest total out of all 3 games, yet the highest spread. So when you see that, when you see a high spread and a low total, usually you kind of want to look towards the dog because points are going to be a little bit harder to come by, so they're worth a little bit more. But I want nothing to do with it. Zach, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. Then we have this horrible NBA game here. I'm sick of this shit. San Antonio is not going to win the series. In fact, only 2 teams have ever won the first 2 games of an NBA Finals on the road, and they were both Michael Jordan Bulls teams, I'm pretty sure. But I would, dial that back a little bit because I'm pretty sure in both those cases the Bulls were the favorite in that series, even though they were the road team. They just happened to have the worst record on the season. One of them was against the Suns with Charles Barkley, and the other one was against Houston, who I think had won the championship the year before that, the Michael Jordan baseball year or whatever. When I think he tried to come back. That was the one year during that 7-year span that the Bulls didn't win. Houston won the championship, I'm pretty sure, which I think was against the Knicks, by the way. In 94 or whatever that was, if I remember correct. I don't know. I was pretty young. I don't know. But then the year after, I still think the Bulls were favored against them the year after. Maybe they weren't, but I don't know. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't think the Knicks are really going to sweep, though. I don't know, man. I mean, usually when you have a team that loses the first 2 games, whether it was on the road or at home, I tend to look for the zigzag. Like, if you're the Knicks, right, like, this is just getting way too hyped up. Like, people are talking about how this is the most expensive finals game to go to in history. I know inflation and shit like that, but the cheapest seats are like $18,000 for a fucking balcony in this game. It's completely ridiculous because the Knicks haven't been here for so long. The last time they were in the finals was, I don't know, probably in the 90s. I don't even know. And then the last time they were winning in the finals was that Houston series in 94, and Houston won the last 2 games at home and won anyway. The last time the Knicks were winning in a finals series before this year was literally the day of the OJ Bronco chase. I watched that ESPN 30 for 30 recently. The Knicks were playing that game where they took that series lead, Game 5, during the OJ race, during the OJ cop chase, I mean. Yeah, crazy shit. Anyway, but, the Knicks won both games on the road. They're coming back home. They're getting massive, massive hype here. Everybody's, like, totally hyped. Everybody's paying all this money for it. You got to think they're feeling a little bit too overconfident right now. So I think I would lean to San Antonio here. The Knicks are a 2-point favorite, 2.5. San Antonio is getting the money, 57% of tickets, 62% of the cash on San Antonio. And remember, San Antonio, I'm pretty sure they had the bigger lead in each of the first two games. They were up double digits in each of the first two games, and I know New York was up double digits late in game two, and San Antonio came all the way back and probably should have won. They took the lead in the final minutes of the game and then still lost anyway because they fouled Jalen Brunson, and he hit 1 of 2, I think, and that was the winning point in that game. San Antonio's been playing good defense, though. The Knicks, their shooting has not been what it was. Like, the Knicks went on that historic shooting run, but that hasn't been the case in this series. And in fact, the lowest amount of points that the Knicks have scored in the playoffs is 105, and that's what they've scored in both games in this series so far. So the Knicks have tied their postseason low amount of points in both games in this series, yet they won both games, and they kind of barely won them both. San Antonio had the lead in both games late in the game, so San Antonio could have won both games. But then that's where it comes down to experience, I think. Like, if the game is close late, that's kind of the problem. San Antonio is just way too young right now, and they're making mistakes and not playing well in the clutch, even though they were able to beat OKC in some clutch scenarios. So you would think that that would help them out with their experience. But I did also say, I don't know, I had a lot of conflicting opinions on this series, which is why I haven't played, I did play San Antonio team total in game 2, and that did not work out either. Very, very bad. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, this series, I did think that the Knicks would probably wind up winning the series just because they're the more experienced team. These guys have been in the playoffs repeatedly. San Antonio's players have not. So that's the thing. But I think the Knicks might be a little bit overconfident here. You win both games on the road. You come back home. You know what I mean? It could be a little bit of a distraction, I think. Even coming back home and you're feeling like really good about yourselves. Like, basically, you know, I think based on the odds and whatever, the Knicks are basically 80% to win the series now. And they're probably going to do it. So that's probably what's in their mind now. San Antonio's played okay in the series, though. Like I said, they were competitive. They had chances to win both games. Unlike in the OKC series, like, every game San Antonio lost was a blowout loss. That hasn't been the case in this series at all. But I looked at the last game, and there weren't really any outliers that I can really pick at. Like, it was a close game on the final score, and it was a close game statistically. So there's not a whole lot I could do here. Like, both teams shot, like, reasonably. The Knicks did have more field goal attempts, though, and San Antonio did outshoot them percentage-wise by a little bit. But the teams had similar free throw metrics. They were fairly similar from three-point range, though the Knicks did hit 4 more threes, but they took way more because San Antonio is kind of clogging the inside with Wemby. So the Knicks are taking to the three-point range more. Actually, my mistake. The Knicks did have the larger lead in this game, but San Antonio did lead by double digits in the game as well, though. And the rebound battle was close. So I just don't see any outliers here that I can really latch on to here. Like, it was a close game, and the final score was close. I mean, that's about all you can really say. And both teams shot, like, pretty much around league averages. So, like, there's nothing you could zigzag here. There weren't really any outliers in that game. But, yeah, I think motivationally, I think maybe New York might take their foot off the gas a little bit here, being in a situation like this. San Antonio would be the way I would lean here. I just hope that San Antonio can get a win here and make this a series again at least. Fuck the Knicks, in my opinion. The money is also coming in towards the under for what that's worth. I don't think I agree with that. 71% of tickets on the over, 59% of the cash on the over. Public will probably be on an over. Totals at 216.5, but I think both games so far have gone under, right? First game definitely went under, and then the first game, I said 210, I meant 200 when I saw that. Yeah, the first game landed 200, the second game landed 209, so both games have gone under the total so far. So I think, maybe there's a little bit of a chance to zigzag that and go over here, but I don't think I'd want to do that either because of the travel. Like, I think the overs tend to happen more when there's one day off and the teams are staying in the same venue. Then the defenses are a little bit less rested and the shooters are used to the venue, you know what I mean? Although every venue in the NBA is basically the same sight lines, really, so it doesn't really matter. It's not like college basketball where everything's a bit different. But yeah, I think an over may be worth a consideration here, but I don't know. I would not want to do it, though. But then again, these teams did have an extra day off because they had to travel, so that can cool off the offenses a little bit. I don't know. I don't want to deal with the game at all. Probably if you forced me to give you a play on that game, it would probably be San Antonio plus the points, but I don't want to do that either. So it's a pass for me on the board today, man. I apologize, but that's what it is. I think the best plays that are on the board today are Red Sox money line and Astros money line, though. That was my feel when I looked at this board. So if you want to play one or both of those, I guess have at it. I'm gonna sit it out, and then jump back in tomorrow and find some hopefully better spots there. The best situational spot today is the Washington Nationals, but the pitching matchup, I can't do it, man. Watch Washington win the game. Which at least that'll mean that my lean was right. But I can't do it. I can't do it, man. I can't back Mikolas against Webb. All right, that's gonna do it. I'm sick. I gotta fix my voice here. Got to rest it. Learn to Toad on Twitter. Learn to Toad on Instagram. Like, subscribe to the channel here. Let's boost this thing. I don't know what else I even have to talk about here. We're on audio, Apple, Spotify, Spreaker. Covered in Uke on YouTube, my Uke cover channel. Check that out. Patreon.com/LearnToToad for some bonus stuff there. Obviously, I can't sing right now with the way that things are going. Got to get that feed updated still, though, for the Spotify patrons, or for the patrons, the Spotify feed. Losercast will be back tomorrow. Hopefully, my voice will be doing better. And Giants G-Spot podcast. Check it out, everybody. That's going to do it. We'll have a relaxing Monday, I guess, hopefully. I'll try to get healthier. I felt this sickness coming on last night, so it might get worse. Peace.
But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now.